we're proving triangles are congruent. Using angle, side angle, and angle, angle, side. All right, so the first few problems are going to give you a picture, and it says, is it possible to prove the triangles are congruent? If so, state the postulate or theorem you would use and explain your reasoning. So number 8. All the markings that I'm putting on here would have been given to you. All right, so this is all that they tell us. They don't give us any other information. Can I prove that these two triangles are congruent? Well, to do that, I need to determine, is there anything else that I know? Because right now I only know that there's one angle that's congruent and one side that's congruent. So what else do I know to be true about this?
Angle RVS congruent to angle UVT.
Yep, this angle has to be congruent here because of the vertical angles theorem. So we can prove these triangles are congruent. What allows us to say that? You've got side, 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 angle, or angle, angle, side.
Angle, side, angle.
Angle, side, angle. So it's angle, side, then angle. So angle, side, angle. Whoa. There. All right, 10. Got like a big triangle, cut down the middle. All right, so with this given information, is there anything else that I know has to be congruent here?
BC congruent to BC.
Yep. So a lot of times I'll just put like a mark there, and then that just kind of like in my brain says, okay, this is congruent to itself. Is there anything else that I know? No.
Maybe angle ACP is congruent to angle DCB.
Yep, this also has to be a right angle, if that's a right angle. So now, do I have enough information to say that these two triangles are congruent?
Yes.
By what?
Angle, angle, side.
Yep, angle, angle, side. Twelve. All right, got more markings on this one. Is there anything else that I know has to be congruent from this picture?
Angle JOK and angle QMN. Not NMQ.
Yeah. Side QN and side JK.
Well, why would those angles be congruent?
Because all the other angles are congruent with each other.
All it says is that one angle is congruent. K and Q are the only angles that are congruent to each other. I don't know anything about M and L or J.
Then why do they make opposites?
That means the sides are congruent.
Oh,
So side JL is congruent to MN. But that doesn't mean anything about my angles.
side angle side.
Nope, that would have to be this angle right here for side angle side. That doesn't exist. Well, I'm going to tell you that, and then I'm going to also tell you that it does exist, but not till algebra 2.
Oh no.
Wait, so then it's just side angle side and
So you have side, side, side. Do I know that all three sides are congruent? Nope. What about side angle side? Is the angle between the two sides congruent?
angle side.
Do I know that two angles are congruent?
Yes.
No.
No.
I only know that one angle is congruent.
So is the answer.
So the other option is angle side angle, but I still only know that one angle is congruent, so the answer is no. Not enough information to prove that they are. Now in algebra 2, we could prove that they're congruent. Not in here.
Is algebra easier than geometry? I've heard that before.
Depends.
It'll be fine. If I had algebra, you had algebra.
All right. State the third congruence that must be given to prove that triangle PQR is congruent to triangle STU using the indicated postulate or theorem. Sketch the triangles and mark with the given information. So 14. So we're not writing a proof, we're just stating what we would also need to know in order to prove it. Angle Q is congruent to angle T. Side PQ is congruent to side ST. And we're using angle, side to prove this. And they tell us that we're proving that triangle PQR is congruent to triangle STU. So they don't give you any pictures with this one, so I would recommend starting out with pictures. Since I don't know what these triangles look like, I usually start out with two triangles that essentially look equilateral. They may or may not be, but... And then I've got PQR, and then I've got STU, and notice I went around the triangle in the same order so that I made sure that it's set up correctly. I know that angle Q is congruent to angle T, so I'm going to put that marking on here. I also know that side PQ is congruent to side ST. So that's all my given information. They want me to use angle, side. So that means I need two angles that are side by side. Well, it can't be this one because then that would be angle, side, angle. So the only other option is over here that I would have to know that U is congruent to R because then I would have angle, side. So I would have to know that angle U is congruent to angle R in order to prove it. And that's all those ones are asking you for. So make sure you pay attention to that. Sometimes when you get given information and then it says prove something, and you don't read the instructions, a lot of you start actually writing a proof that's not going to answer the question that they're asking us for. So make sure you watch the instructions on these. 16, so we're doing the same thing. They tell us that angle R is congruent to angle U, and that angle P is congruent to angle S. And they want us to use angle, side, angle to prove that, again, triangle PQR is congruent to triangle STU. Now, this proving part was given in the instructions. The only thing that the problem tells us is what I've written on this first line. but from the instructions I can get the rest. All right, so again, I would draw two triangles. Go around in order. All right, so I know the angle R is congruent to angle U, so I'm going to mark those. I also know the angle P is congruent to angle S. Now, I want to have angle side angle, so what else do I have to know? What else would have to be congruent for me to prove using angle side angle that these two triangles are congruent?
That side PR has to be congruent to S.
Yep. This side has to be congruent to this side because then I have angle side angle. So PR is congruent to SU is the other one that I would have to know. All right, we're going to get into a couple actual proofs. Again, these instructions say either write a 2-column proof or a paragraph proof. You need to do a 2-column proof. We don't use paragraph proofs. So for, I'll write it here, 19 through 22, modified, write a 2-column proof. All right, so we're going to start with 20. Given, we have a picture and then they also have given information. So we have that AB is perpendicular to AD. We have that DE is perpendicular to AD. And I have that BC is congruent to EC. We're proving that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEC. All right, so everything that I have put on here would have been given information. Give y'all a second to copy that. I'm going to go ahead and set up for my proof, but I'm not going to start it yet. I'm going to give you a second to make sure you have everything down. So anytime they give me a picture within a proof, I like to look and make sure that everything matches up with the given information in the picture, just to make sure that everything logically makes sense. So AB is perpendicular to AD. They've shown that that's a right angle, so that's really the only thing I can show with that. DE is perpendicular to AD. Again, they've shown that with a right angle. And then BC is congruent to EC, and so they've shown both of those. I don't know anything else at this point, so that's all I can do at the moment. So what's my first step? Write out your given information. As always, you can do this in one step or in separate ones. It's up to you. All right, so what else do I know about this picture here? that will lead me to be able to prove my two triangles are congruent?
Angle ACB is congruent to angle DCE.
Yep. Angle ACB is congruent to triangle DCE, or keep saying triangle, angle DCE. What's the reason for that?
Vertical angles theorem.
Yep, the vertical angles theorem. Now, what else? Right now I just have, technically ignoring the picture for a second, or well, not really fully ignoring the picture, but all that the picture is really telling us at the moment and the given information is that AB is perpendicular to AD and that DE is perpendicular to AD. So what do you think I might need to do before I do anything else?
BC plus CE is equal to BE.
Nope. Trying to prove the two triangles are congruent. That's not going to help me. Specifically in regards to angle A and angle D.
Well, they're congruent to each other because they're both on.
Okay, but I can't say that yet because I haven't talked about why. What is angle A and angle D?
Right angle.
So I need to have that first. Angle A and angle D are right angles. And the reason for that would be theorem 3.3, which says that two perpendicular lines form a right angle. Okay, just since we're not familiar with the numbers, that's the main reason I'm writing that out.
Two lines.
No, as long as you have theorem 3.3, it's fine. Now, if you also wrote two perpendicular lines form a right angle, that would also be fine. Your book is not often going to call, like if you're checking your work, they're not often going to call them by their theorem number because that's not known. Like that's true for our book, but if you were just proving this in general, everybody's book isn't going to align. Everybody's theorem 3.3 isn't going to be that. So that's why a lot of times you'll notice they write it out, which is why I wrote this one out just so that we could see it. But for me, this is fine. Most likely, most of you are not going to be doing a proof outside of this class, so you'll be fine. All right, so now then that I've said angle A and angle D are right angles, now I can say that angle A is congruent to angle D. Why? So there's a theorem. What are these? The right angle congruence theorem. So now I have specified, obviously, that we know that those two angles are congruent. We know that these sides are congruent. I've said that these angles here are congruent. So based on all of that information that I have, what can I now say?
Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle.
Yep, and what allows me to say that?
Angle side.
Yep, angle side. All right, one more proof. Or well, first, any questions on this one? Given information is that angle TQS is congruent to angle RSQ, and angle R is congruent to angle T. We're proving that triangle TQS is congruent to triangle RSQ. This is kind of a weird picture here. Essentially looks something like that. Kind of looks like two mountains overlapping. Oh, hold on. I messed up. These are supposed to go all the way across. Whoa. Close enough. There we go. Because then when they label the picture, we've got TQS, so that's this small angle down here, is congruent to RSQ, so that's this small angle down here. And then we also know that angle R is congruent to angle T. So we have those markings, and again, both of those markings they had given you in your picture, but you could have also found that based on what they gave you. All right, what's my first step? Angle TQS congruent to angle RSQ, and angle R is congruent to angle T. All right, what else do I know about my picture aside from what they are using my picture? What else do I know aside from what they've told me?
Angle Q is congruent to angle S.
That's this. Angle TQS is congruent to RSQ. Do these triangles have anything in common in regard to their sides?
Intersect.
Where?
Or T and, or RS and TQ. Cut through each other.
Okay, so basically I'm looking at TQS, so that means that one triangle I'm looking at is this one. The other triangle I'm looking at is RSQ, so that is this one. Okay. So I know something about two of their angles. Can I prove anything about their other angles? That's gonna help me with my thing, or is another angle gonna help me prove the triangles are congruent? No. So that means I need to think about the sides. So, are there any sides that I can say or have to be congruent to each other?
TS and Q.
Okay, how? You can't. So, I need another one.
RS and TQ.
How? All right, look, I have two overlapping triangles. What has to be true of two overlapping triangles?
They have one congruent side.
They have one congruent side. What's the only side that they both have? QS. So what do you think I might need to say?
QS is congruent to QS.
There we go. QS is congruent to QS. Why? Reflexive property. So now I know that, get rid of all this extra. I don't know why I just put 3 lines there, but just whatever. So now I know that they both have two angles in common and a side. So what can I say?
Triangle TQS is congruent to triangle RSQ by angle side.
Yes. Nice and easy. Use your picture to help you. You can't just assume things are congruent just because. You got to look for the things that overlap or other information like vertical angles that you would know so that you know what you're looking for. All right, questions on any of that? All right, here's what we're going to do. You have a vocab quiz tomorrow, and I want you to focus on doing that tonight. So you've got 9 through 17 odd, 18, 19, 21, 35, and 37. I will probably also leave a worksheet for you tomorrow. Here's the catch. This homework is due at the end of class tomorrow. The worksheet, if you don't finish it in class, will be homework. So if you want to do this tonight, you can do this tonight. If you want to wait till tomorrow, then you better work quickly so that you can get this all done by the end of class tomorrow. Okay? You'll do your vocab quiz first when you come in. There's 22 words to study. They will not all be on there, but just like last time, there's still a Quizlet out there. You can go to that website. The link is still on Google Classroom. You just have to scroll a little bit to get to it. Use the Quizlet if you need to. Whatever you need to do to study. I don't like Quizlet, but that's just me. However you need to study, make sure you do that. Now,